All right, so last hour, guys, we got that unicursal. It's a little bit of a cluster F, if you will, at the end of the day here, because we've got correlations to the art card right around the close. We've got the interruption of a trend right around 3 o'clock, right? Unicursal and the gain card, but it's a unicursal. So my sense is that we probably have a big move to the upside coming very, very shortly. This is kind of like Ace of Swords, fake out type of stuff. I'll be very surprised if we go further to the downside from this point today. Little aggravated. I sold my out of the money put this morning. Expires on September 7th because we've got the 5th off, so that's really only 2 trading days left before the expiration. So I sold it because it's a little risky to keep it on at this point, and I already had some other short positions, so I kept some of my puts. I should have held my 388 put so I could sell it for without a little bit of a loss there. It took a little bit of a loss on it, but now I'm making money on the 393 puts. And I opened up 404 calls right here around the low. Because I see that pop at the end of the day. I'm looking to make a day trade here at the end of the day with that big move to the upside. I also picked up some TTO today, guys. Lower on Monday. It's kind of hard for me to tell on this reading, my friends. It's probably right around where we close, is my sense. I would like to think it's going lower on Monday, but I'm not so sure about that. We've got the Sun card right around here. We've got the art card. That could be the same. That art card could be the same price level as the opening today, so it could be higher. But it's when you see a science card as a sneak preview. These cards tell me that the sneak preview card I'm now using as a testing out as a relative. I call it a relativity card because it gives me an idea of where the next day will open, the next trading day will open in relation to this reading's close. And the science card, I believe that's. Let me look at my notes. I believe that's like a flat kind of deal. Looks like my voice is starting to come back. Yeah, it's probably going to be flat, guys. Don't let this little drop fake you out. It seems like they almost always do that. You know, like it's supposed to. That's supposed to mean that in technical analysis we broke through that support level, and that's supposed to mean we go lower. But you almost always see that now, right before we turn around. Why is that? Because all the guys that don't know anything about trading, that are trying to figure it out, are studying these books that are setting you up to fail. They're just setting you up to fail. You can't learn, in my opinion, you cannot learn to trade from reading books, because you can't, to make money in the market, you cannot do what everybody else is doing, and you have to be right. I think it's probably, so to answer concisely, Unlimited Lawn, I think it's probably going to open around where it closes. I'd say especially if we have a big pop right before the close if we have a big move in this hour to the upside and we have a high towards the end of the day, that would be pretty dope. If we don't have a high towards the end of the day, I'd say that means that the art card level would be above where we closed today, and in that case we probably would open up a little higher, but that's only if we don't have a big move to the upside to reach a high at the end of the day. And I'm gonna have to bolt out of here right at like 4 o'clock, guys. I gotta take my dog to the veterinarian. Poor guy. Something's up with his stomach. And like I said, it's a bit of a cluster because we've got this Ace of Wands or Ace of Swords card here, which is like new resistance, but it doesn't tell you, it doesn't necessarily mean it's like a higher resistance or a lower resistance. So like there's notable volatility in a big move usually from this level. What's also important to notate here is that at this Ace of Swords level, which is roughly what this is, this like back and forth stuff, Ace of Swords. Matter of fact, that price level is already notated from something prior. I'm going to notate it again. I'll be really surprised if you go lower. But my 404 calls expire on the 12th, whereas my 393 puts expire on the 9th. So they're going to appreciate faster than the calls depreciate because the calls are further, the expiration is further out, so they're not as affected by price moves. Not as in relation to the puts that are closer expiration. Yep. I'm a little aggravated because I sold one of my puts. I mean, I needed to get rid of it today. It's just, I'm like, oh crap, like this could depreciate to nothing if we keep going in this direction, so I sold it. Because it's a really hard readings for me to read. Really hard, guys. And, but I kept my other puts, the ones that I didn't want to sell. You know, I mean, the one that I sold expires on the 7th, so it was getting really dicey. And I picked up some calls, 404 calls here that expire on the 12th, expecting this move here. Where'd it go? Yeah, it's really dicey, guys. Like, as we move, Mercury retrograde station is on the 9th. I stopped trading on the 9th. I highly recommend all of you do as well. I really, really highly recommend all of you do as well, because you, like, Mercury retrograde, like, your power will shut off when you need to make a trade. Like, you know, you'll press the button to like buy a call instead of sell a call. You know, like all sorts of, like, every time I've ever got like nailed by the pattern day trading thing, it was because I made some silly mistake and placed an extra trade during Mercury retrograde, and it's like I wouldn't get my pattern, my day trading ability back in it for like 90 days, which lines you up for the next retrograde. It's like kind of ridiculous. You have 389 as notable support level. Oh, we are gonna go lower. Yeah, we're probably going to take a nosedive here. And then if that's the case and we don't see a move higher, then we will likely see we open around the same level and then there's a big move to the upside here at the beginning of the day. But I mean, we could still take a nosedive and have a big move to the upside, especially with the Ace of Swords here. And then you've got, whoops. Princess of Swords. It's basically the same energy around the high. It's what really made me think we would have likely to go for a high here, but we also have low correlators. Ugh. So really, really choppy, guys. When you have a lot of back and forth, a lot of volatility, it becomes very difficult to get the order because the energies are kind of like overlapping each other. I don't know how to express it. The energies, when they're so dense, they like mush together. See, I've got this end of a rally and a crest here. The last time we saw that, it turned out to be a crest. There's also an opportunity, or I'm advised to open up a short position here. So my sense, I'm thinking we probably have... I think we probably have like a move to the upside here towards the 7th or 8th. We probably have a low, and then we make a new high out of that low, like, well, a new like recent high out of that low, I should say, because we go from a low into like a move to the upside, and then that rally completes the following day at the crest as well. So we probably start in a low here on the 7th. I'm playing both sides of the market. Reason being is this card right here, opportunity to position yourself in both directions. Yeah, I mean, I'm 2 for 1, 2 calls to 1 put ratio, but my puts are still appreciating faster than the calls, because the calls are expire out further. So I'm just gonna leave it like this. Every time I've left my money in both directions, during this retrograde period, I've made money, and the times that I've lost is when I took a leg off and I was only playing one side of the market. How about that? It's because the moves are so big. You don't need to call direction, and that's the other thing, is that such big moves with volatility, it becomes difficult to pick direction. In any case, if we don't see like a big move back at the end of the day, we'll see it early in the day on the 6th. But again, guys, I'm holding calls and puts, and I'm comfortable with the calls based on this right here. Princess of Swords, position myself for both directions. So we'll likely have some volatility that brings us back to a place where those calls end up being worth something. And I may even double down depending on how deep we get out of the money on those. So I think we probably have a month's low, and then a new like recent high for the month. Like it'll be like a high for the month, like the newest high for the month since the low. They'll likely be in the same day, and then that high will continue a little bit higher on the 8th. So yes, likely a low on the 7th. So I'm positioned pretty good for that. I've got puts that expire on the 9th. I'll sell those on the 7th. And then the calls I'll likely sell on the 8th. But I definitely want to get back into puts. We'll see. I may end up regretting those calls. We'll see. But the point is like over the weekend there's advice to open a protection here at the end of the 7th. So we have a month's low here, and then a move to the upside out of that low on the 7th. And then early on the 8th, position myself for another downturn, because over the weekend we should go down if I was going to trade. What I'll likely do is on the 8th, I'll likely just open up a straddle or strangle with expirations that expire out past, let me see here, expire out past October 2nd. It's like October 2nd or October 3rd is when I would close this call, this straddle or strangle that I'm talking about putting on towards the end of the day on the 7th. I want the expirations to be out far enough that I could close the position on the 3rd, the 2nd or the 3rd. And then what I would do is likely on the 2nd or the 3rd, position myself for another big move to the downside, because we should see another big drop just like we had at the between roughly 820 and 99. we should see another notable decline like that between 10-2 and 10-16. And then there's a solar eclipse that month as well. Solar eclipses have a strong correlation to market crashes. Doesn't mean every time you see a solar eclipse there's going to be a market crash, but a lot of the time when there is a market crash, it'll take place within 5 days of a solar eclipse. Good to know. How are things correlating to the yearly reading? They're looking pretty solid right now. However, we may have you know what? We probably have the same low. I think the real month's low, like there's a very good possibility that we have a strong low on like a month's low for good, like the month's low. Very strong possibility it's on the 20th. And that would be after a big move to the upside, marking the end of a period of decline, which is interesting. It's a very interesting reading, guys. Not an easy one to do, I'll tell you that much. Ugh, and I almost missed this guy because he's so far over. It's like, it looks like the end of the week is here. There's a crest here and a crest here, you know, like on the 16th. I mean, this could be a really big drop, and then out of that drop, we just make new highs. It's possible. But what I see happening is I'm not quite sure where we open, guys. It's a little difficult to say because we've got the love card is sometimes a peak card. And then the overview on the 1 day, the sneak preview on the 1 day is showing the science card, but it's nullified. It's just a lot of choppy, a lot going on, guys. I think we probably see a new low for the month next week, and then from that new low we see like a prominent high form, like almost in the same day. Yeah, my puts are just, like, I have half as many puts as I do calls, and but the puts are close to expiration, and they're appreciating substantially faster than the calls that are depreciating. And that's what happens when you have volatility, my friends. There's a premium on top of if you're looking to sell in the direction that the market is moving, like if it's moving lower and you want to sell your puts for a profit, you get a premium, but you also get a premium because there's a ton of volatility, and options become more desirable during volatility, so it's like a double premium, which is probably part of what's happening. And then I'm not sure who noticed, who was on when I mentioned, but I purchased some TTOO, and then after I got to take my dog to the vet, so provided everything goes okay and it doesn't take forever to be there, I'm releasing the last of the September readings tonight. There's Amazon. I saw a lot of interest in ETH, so I did ETH for September, guys. Thanks for those really nice comments. This is a thank you back. I did a 24-hour turnaround on ETH. And Philip, was it TTOO the one that you wanted me to take a look at, and I said I'll do it right away? I think it was TTOO, but if it wasn't, tell me what it is and I'll get it done, my man. Appreciate it. Like my loyalist followers, like, they're making money and they're sending me money on Cash App, and I really appreciate it, guys, because we really do need help here to keep this moving. I mean, we're building up steam, but like, I ran out of funding to get this thing going with a whole team because it's taken so much longer to get this thing going. It's just, people just find it too hard to believe, and they don't waste their time looking at things they don't believe. It's insane. Cool. All right. Awesome, man. Dude, you got it, Philip. You need something, you let me know, man. Okay, so tonight releasing Amazon September, Ethereum September, Avalanche for September. I feel like there was one more. That might be it. That's it. So those three, those are the last of the Septembers, and then I'm releasing Octobers and doing the dailies for November. Guys, if you're interested in seeing like what the S&P is doing in October, that's already on our website, tarotfortraders.com. It's the only place right now where you can see, like, what I do on Tarot for Traders is whatever readings I create, like whatever posts I'm dropping on YouTube, I post them immediately on Tarot for Traders, and they get scheduled for release on YouTube. They come out ahead of when the times that they're predicting on YouTube, but they come out way ahead. I mean, like some of these readings, when we get into the 2023s, I already have 2023 1 years photographed. They're already photographed. Yeah, 10 year for TTO, man, you got it, dude. I think I might have that on the list here. Oh, not on the list. Was on the list. It got crossed out. Interesting. Well, there's a quick trade in TTO, guys. My sense is that there's a quick trade in TTO right now, or TTOO. I'm gonna hold back from saying that, and I'll tell you why. Because we're already clearly experiencing the disruptive effects of Mercury retrograde, like significantly. I'm sure everybody's had some sort of difficulties, like they're on edge and then things aren't going smoothly, electronic issues, weird glitches, software updates that don't work properly, like maybe somebody needs to do some travel and it's not like an easy travel. You know, a lot of travel happens. But in any case, when I notice all that stuff going on, it's wise to kind of like, when you're manifesting, you need to give your manifestation time to develop, unless you're at an extremely high vibration, which I've been at times, but you know, let's not push it here. You need to give your manifestations time to develop, right? If that makes sense. So like, I don't want to just come up with a trade that would be done next week, today, in the midst of all this like stuff going on. Yeah, so we probably have a move here to the upside. I'll be really surprised if we don't have a big move to the upside here. I'm selling my put. I'm selling my put, I think. Should I sell my put? I'm gonna sell my put and get another put, but that's not so valuable. That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, and then right before the close, I'm going to buy another put. So I just sold my put. Took a nice chunk of change in on that. Where did my charts go? E-Trade is so annoying. Like, really, man? I'm obviously using it. Why do you have to do that? I don't get it. It's so annoying. I can't wait for my chart to be done. So we didn't win the Kickstarter, obviously. Much appreciation to those of you that were able to show some support. That was really cool. We did way better than the last time I tried to do a Kickstarter. So, you know, the thing that I do is I fail my way to success. Everybody else is like, well, not everybody else, but a lot of people were like, oh, I'm going to read this book on it and get all prepared. I'm like, nah, I'm diving in. I'm going to fail. I'm comfortable with that. As long as I don't quit when I failed. You know, failure is not the end unless you make it the end. You know, the finish is where you end it. And that's how I learned. I fail my way to success. So that we're gonna do another Kickstarter. And oh boy, when I have Kickstarters, like when I figured it out and I cracked the code on Kickstarter, I have so many ideas. I mean, I built Facebook. Well, I built MySpace under a different name, like before MySpace had like file sharing and stuff. When Facebook was just a friends list, all the way back then in the .com bubble. I was building one. I had 16,000 members, didn't know enough about business. It got hacked for a $100,000 cash prize that we had for popularity. There was an algorithm for popularity. At the end of the year, whoever was most popular would win $100,000. This guy hacked it. But my ideas were sound. That's $1 trillion idea right there. And so I have ideas that are bigger than that, way bigger than that disrupt gambling and the stock market. I have a solution for the pattern day trading rule, so they can keep the pattern day trading rule and we can disrupt it our own way. And we can trade free of the pattern day trading rule and make money with the stocks free of the pattern day trading rule as much as we want, as many times as we want throughout the same day, and it'll be completely legal. There's no regulations whatsoever because it's never been done before. That's what I mean by disrupting the economy, making the world a better place. Appreciate it, Philip. You have a great weekend too, my man. Yeah, here's that move to the upside. I'm glad I sold those puts. And right before the close, so let me set my alarm so I don't get distracted here. So right before the close, I'm gonna buy another put, I think. Well, that position, it's a position in both directions. That was at the high for the day, right? So I sold my put at the low, and that's what makes sense to do, right? We're far away from the position that was considered the midway point for a straddle or a strangle, right? So I sold my put. The other thing is when you look at the 1 month overview, guys, be careful here. Like, be careful. I think like there's choppiness going on next week, so be careful you don't get like whipsawed out, right? The Ace of Cups for today means opportunity in the midst of a decline to open up a long position. So be careful of that, guys. Don't be like overly zealous on the downside here. We may have a nice drop, we may not. It's hard for me to see. But what I can tell you is based on where we've gone from the high, there's definite opportunity to the upside, purchasing calls now, because if I'm advised to open up calls at the high and then they depreciate all the way down here, if those calls being purchased at the high are going to be valuable in the near future, then that means any calls that I buy now when we're at a lower price will be valuable as well. Hopefully that makes sense. Matter of fact, I'm going to buy one more call. I'm gonna buy a put at the like in the next 3 or 4 minutes. I'm gonna buy a put. I just sold one for like $600 almost, and I want to buy something that's like maybe in the $200 range. That way I take some of my risk off, since I'm not 100% certain of direction over the weekend. But I don't like miss out on like a big move. I'll be in both directions. A big move would be great. What I'll really be annoyed by is if we don't have a move. And I mean, it's very likely that could be the case. It's hard for me to see, guys. When I see it, I'll tell you. When I don't see it, there's a reason why I don't say it. If I don't see it, I don't say it. Guys, if you're thinking of things that you want to see in October, highly recommended that you let me know what you want me to do readings on for October, because this weekend and all next week, basically, I'm going to be doing October and a little bit of November, so that over retrograde, I don't have to do any readings. And that way I can really rely on them being like reliable. Rely on them being reliable. I can trust that they'll be reliable. Sometimes when you do them during retrograde, it can get a little choppy. it's not that the readings are inaccurate, it's that reading them becomes difficult. It's a form of communication. And remember what happens with Mercury retrograde. It disrupts travel, communication, and electronics communication. I think probably what I'll do, we'll see. We'll see. Wow, did it really just get rid of my chart again? Wow. Would have liked to have seen a bigger move than that. I'm gonna give it another 2 minutes. Cutting it close. Another 2 minutes. I'll be right back, guys. So we should have some back and forth action here this month, guys. It looks like a big move out of the low. Big move out of the low, pushing the upper end of the range. But it's possible we have another low, like we do some whipsaw, and we revisit or we come close to it here in the end, and out of the end of the month we have a big move higher. A bunch of negative headwinds as we go into the post shadow, you can see. And then when we come out of the post shadow decline, which should be pretty hard because it's more concentrated. There's less days, less trading days for the move to take place in, so it's likely there's a bigger move. And then we have kind of like a big slingshot into the end of November. The following year is pretty bullish, guys. 2023 is looking pretty juicy from here. All right, I'm gonna buy a put and a call. I'm buying a 387 put, and I'm tripling down, so it'll be 1 for 3 on puts to calls. I'm gonna have 3 calls for every put. I'm purchasing one more 404 put expiring on September 12th. Or excuse me, 404 call that expires on September 12th. There you go with that Mercury retrograde miscommunication. Clear. All right, so I've got a straddle. I have it's a September 9th expiration. Sorry, a September 12th expiration straddle. I'm heavy on the call side. I've got 3 calls for every put, and I'm holding 387 puts and 404 calls. I'm not going to regret it, like holding on to these calls, right? If we don't have a big drop over the weekend, annoying, If we have a big move to the upside, very unlikely, but if we did have a big move to the upside, well, matter of fact, let's look at that chart one more time. If we don't have a big move here, it's possible we see more of a move higher, but based on what I'm seeing here, the signs card, if it wasn't nullified, that would be very clear to me that we would be opening up at the key price level probably right around here. It's nullified, so it's hard to read in this case. In any case, I gotta roll, my friends. Thanks for watching. Remember, when you make that money, guys, pay a little bit of it forward, a little bit of it backwards, and make sure you're spending the rest of that on love. Make sure it's out of love. The universe will send it back to you tenfold in all directions, my